Good afternoon. If I could ask people to take a seat. So I want to welcome you here at Greenwich High School. We're going to begin by, actually, I just told you to take a seat. If you now please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. So it's my honor as the host principal to welcome you all today. Superintendent Gilday and Chairperson Bernstein, as well as all the children and parents and supporting people for our most distinguished teachers. This is without doubt the nicest ceremony I think that we have in the Greenwich Public Schools each year. It always seems to happen on a beautiful day in May. And I can tell you that every principal in Greenwich High School loves getting a call from some unknown number sometime at the beginning of May saying, just calling to let you know that one of your teachers or maybe two of your teachers are distinguished teachers this year. It's a great honor for all of us. This is a beautiful ceremony where you get to hear the stories of the people who nominated them as well as from the distinguished teacher. And you will see that in Greenwich Public Schools we are truly blessed with a wonderful, wonderful group of teachers. At this time, we are also very fortunate the host school provides a little entertainment. And I asked our music staff if they could provide, and they have come through for me as they almost always do. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Patrick Taylor, and he will introduce the Magicals, who will be singing a couple of selections for you.
Good afternoon, and congratulations to the distinguished teachers, past and present. Thank you so much for allowing us to be part of your event today. These are the Greenwich High School Madrigals. These are one of our three honors select audition choirs at the high school. We're going to sing two pieces for you today, both about the relationship theme. The first, a little bit more optimistic, and it's the beginning of a relationship. The second one, relationship has ended, and the singer is not too pleased about it. So the first is called I See the Light. It's from the movie Tangled. The second is a pop song from a few years ago called Jar of Hearts. Enjoy.
Watching from the windows, all those years. Good afternoon. My name is Cynthia Sherwin, and I am the chairman of the Distinguished Teachers Awards I'd like to welcome you today to our 34th Annual Distinguished Teacher Awards Ceremony. I'd like to thank the Greenwich High School Madrigal. That was truly magical. It was just beautiful. So thank you so much, and Mr. Taylor. I'd also like to thank Chris Winters and the high school for hosting our ceremony today. I'd like to welcome on stage our superintendent, Dr. Jill Gilday, our Board of Ed Chairman, Peter Bernstein. I knew I would look. Practice it, I know Board of Ed, but no, not related. And our first selectman, Peter Tessie. In our audience today, people who are here to honor our teachers. We have several Board of Ed members, members of the BET, RTM, and I really appreciate you coming to celebrate with us. I'd also like to thank the members of our Distinguished Teacher Award Committee for their hard work and commitment to selecting these fine recipients. And at this time, I'd like to ask them to stand and please be recognized. Distinguished Teacher Committee members. Without our sponsors, and I'd like to recognize and thank the Kiwanis Club, the Greenwich Organization of School Administrators, the Greenwich Education Association, the PTA Council, Distinguished Teacher Award Committee members, all the school PTAs, and several of our former distinguished teachers and individual members of our community have sponsored the program. I'm thrilled to also see quite a few of our former distinguished teachers here today. And as they come to honor our new class, could I ask these former distinguished teachers to rise right now to be recognized? As we begin the celebration today, I'd like to take a moment to tell those of you new to this program that we were created 34 years ago by our superintendent, Dr. Ernest Fleischman, as an opportunity to recognize and celebrate excellence among our dedicated teaching staff of the Greenwich Public Schools. Our committee is made up of 20 members, and we are a standalone nonprofit, so we're really not related to the Greenwich Public Schools. We have 2 board of ed members on our committee, representatives from the PTA Council, the GEA, GOSHA, the Kiwanis, and the community at large. However, we could not survive without the help and support of Kim Eves and Mike Ananaccio from our communications department, so thank you so much. Inside the front cover of your program is a lot of information about our committee and how we go about selection, so I am not going to go through that today because I'd really like to get on to the program. You can read that for home. It's now my pleasure to begin introducing the class of 2018 Distinguished Teacher, our sensational 6. Sitting before you are 6 teachers who share many traits. They have enthusiasm which is infectious. They work tirelessly, way beyond their contract hours. They push their students to seek personal success. Passion for educating in fun and inspiring ways drives these individuals. Each of them is a teacher their students in the past, the present, and their future will remember as one of the best teachers ever, the one who changed their lives some way. A few fun facts. Together, they've been in the teaching field for 96.5 years. It's all about data collection. Sitting in front of you are mentors of new and student teachers, coaches for Greenwich Public School athletic teams and town youth leagues, advisors for Quiz Bowl teams, and literary magazines. They are regulars at professional development workshops during summers and have been awarded grants to travel to Europe to learn from teachers around the globe. They've also earned grants to do summer research to improve their curriculum. 2 of our teachers also participate in the wonderful AVID program. If you walk into the classrooms of these teachers, you're sure to find vibrant, engaging learning spaces filled with updated resources, stimulating displays, and maybe even some cozy chairs and plants cascading from the ceiling. Once in their classrooms, you'll find these 6 using technology to create innovative lessons and units, consistently setting academic bars high and cheering their students' successes. Creative thinkers and risk takers, these sensational 6 are willing to make mistakes, thus modeling for students that with mistakes come critical learning and opportunities for growth. Mind you, more than one of these teachers isn't afraid to make the occasional epic fail in their classrooms. These teachers have had parents leave their classrooms on open house night, wishing they could be back at school and experience the year with such an amazing instructor. That's right, kids. Some of your parents really wish they could go back to school to be inspired by your teacher. These teachers have inspired their students to write Shakespearean sonnets and learn to love reading, sometimes finishing a novel for the first time in their lives as middle school students. They've taught teachers how to be better teachers, finding ways to ensure that students with hearing impairments are able to reach their fullest potential, removing any obstacles in their way. They are all team players, living by the mantra, there is no I in team, for they know the magic of synergy between colleagues and how the sharing of ideas elevates lessons and units beyond what any individual teacher could possibly accomplish. These 6 value their fellow colleagues, and they know one of the reasons they're sitting up here now is because of other fine Greenwich Public School teachers working in fellowship for the benefit of our students and our community. We'll meet these sensational 6 in a few moments, but first, it's my pleasure to introduce our superintendent, Dr. Jill Gilday, to say a few words.
Thanks, Cynthia, for such a wonderful job organizing this wonderful event. Thank you so much for your words and your remarks. As Cynthia read about each of the teachers at our board meeting, I actually had tears in my eyes from some of the stories. They were truly heartwarming and truly bring to light the excellence that is evident in our educational staff. Your 6 colleagues here bring joy and student-centered approach to the classroom. And I think that's why they are being recognized today by all of you, by their colleagues, and by the students who also have nominated them. I think that as they are working each day, their influence is without measure. Those interactions that they're having, 200 to 300 decisions per hour, is typical for teachers. Each and every interaction is making a positive impact on each of those learners that is seeing you and is experiencing your classroom each day. And they will remember those things. Sometimes a student will come up to us later after they've graduated and they'll say, do you remember this or do you remember that? And we all smile and we nod and we say, of course we do. And we go home and we scratch our head and we think, when did that happen? And it's because our classrooms are such busy places. We don't always remember all those things, but that's the art and the science of teaching, is we don't know which one of those interactions has the most positive or the most impactful influence. So each of those interactions are key. You all have a track record of making really incredible ones, time and time again. And I believe that is why you're up here and why you're being honored. I cannot wait to hear and learn more about you through the presentation. I enjoy visiting your classrooms. It's one of the highlights of being the superintendent of Greenwich Public Schools, is seeing what's happening each and every day. I thank the families for sharing these wonderful people with us. As all of you know and your children know, it is not a 9-to-5 job or an 8-to-3 job. Teaching is truly a calling. It's a lifestyle. So thank you for sharing your loved ones with us, whether it be during their long meeting nights, whether it's during their summers while they're taking courses and planning for the next year, or whether it's, as they watch TV on Sunday night with you sitting and grading their large stack of assignments. Thank you for permitting them to bring their joy and their inspiration to our students in our classrooms every day. Thank you so much.
Peter Tessie.
Good afternoon, everyone, and congratulations to the 2018 class of distinguished teachers. Today, you're being recognized for your excellence in the classroom and your personal achievements, those achievements which have contributed to the well-being and the enrichment of our most precious resource, our students. And I know we take tremendous amount of pride, not only as a school community, but as a community at large, in what you have accomplished and what you provide to the children of Greenwich each and every day you devote to your careers. So on behalf of the citizens of the town, my heartfelt congratulations to you for recognition well earned, and I look forward to hearing each of your personal stories today. Thank you.
This afternoon with Miss Linda Bailey.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have laryngitis. I apologize. It is my great joy to have the opportunity to introduce Megan White, Teacher of the Hearing Impaired. What is truly extraordinary about her is that she has consistently taken the initiative to ensure that her students' progress is not simply maintained, but that they reach their highest potential as autonomous learners, no matter how challenging their circumstances. When our son, Jay, suddenly lost hearing to the point that normal speech was unintelligible, she did not waver. Against all odds, not only did Jay's vocabulary increase, but he maintained peer-level skills in reading and writing and developed superhero lip-reading powers as a coping mechanism until he received his implant in 2013. Under Megan's tutelage, he has risen to the high expectations held out for him and has gone from a profoundly hearing-impaired preschooler with precious few words to becoming an outspoken presenter to peer and adult audiences and an honor roll student. We are grateful to the Board of Ed and Mary Ford for having the wisdom to hire such an abundantly gifted young lady to empower our children to succeed in spite of their circumstances and to demonstrate to others that a physical disability does not define a person nor limit one's capacity for outstanding achievement in any area of life. It is my honor to present to you Ms. Megan White.
Good afternoon. My name is Megan White. I am the teacher of the hearing impaired for Greenwich Public Schools, pre-K through high school. I am beyond grateful to be one of 2018's distinguished teachers for the district. Thank you to the committee for this amazing honor. It means the world to me, really. Thank you to Dr. Gilday, to Dr. Carabillo, to the Board of Education, Mary Ford, Jeffrey Libby, to the wonderful administration that I work with, my colleagues, support staff, therapists, thank you. I'd like to thank the parents that I work with. Thank you for raising such amazing children. Linda Bailey, thank you for my nomination. I sincerely appreciate it. Thank you to my wonderful students. I'm truly blessed every day to wake up and do what I love. From listening and spoken language therapy, to promoting self-advocacy, to teaching reading and math. My job is truly rewarding. I need to take a moment and thank my parents. They are two Irish immigrants who came here for a better life, and they have afforded me a beautiful life. They instilled in me hard work and dedication and perseverance. They're the reason I am the professional I am today, so thank you. I want to thank my brother Morgan, my sisters Amanda and Ashley, my family near and abroad, and I'd like to thank my husband for his support and dedication. This is an amazing milestone in my career. I look forward to my continued work and contributions here at Greenwich Public Schools. Thank you so much. Have a great evening, and congratulations to my fellow nominees.
next nominator is Deborah Smith.
My name is Deborah Smith. I am an English teacher here at the high school. My social studies colleague, Ian Tiedemann, and I nominated Ellie for this award. Let me tell you what it's like to walk into Ellie's room as she's teaching. There's that invisible, yet unmistakable positive energy you can feel when students are deeply engaged. Ellie's room is calm, yet it zings with vitality. How does this happen? There's an X factor in Ellie that runs deeper than her academic pedigree, the impeccable lesson design, the knowledge base worthy of a literature professor. Ian was onto it when he wrote, "In my years working with Ellie, we've created an inclusive, accepting atmosphere in our classes. Our students have such a special experience that is largely due to Ellie's intellectual gifts, her passion, and her kind disposition." Ah, there it is. I believe that it's Ellie's radical kindness that accounts for the way her students flourish. Here's a metaphor that comes to mind. Have you ever seen an animation of the way the brain changes as it grows in response to new learning? It forges new neural networks. A more developed brain shows more complex networks of connections. Ellie's classroom reminds me of that more networked brain, one whose connections are evidence of learning. Ellie embodies kindness and compassion, which create a connected classroom, connections between Ellie and her students, and among the students themselves. Her kindness opens her students to learning and leads them into community. It's an honor to work with her. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I recently spoke with my friend and colleague, Camille Fusco, about 2 essays by George Orwell and Joan Didion, both of which were titled, Why I Write. This conversation led me to consider more deeply why I teach. My personal goal as a teacher is to ensure that my students learn something interesting, valuable, and new every day. I teach to encourage my students to pursue their academic interests. In her 1976 essay titled Why I Write, Didion discovers that she writes as a matter of self-respect. She writes to pose and pursue questions of interest to her. In the beginning of the year, I model the types of prompts students might want to ask themselves, such as how an author's craft reveals content. By the end of the year, my students select their own text to read, create their own questions, and construct and support their own arguments in areas of interest to them. I teach to impart valuable skills to my students, such as how to reflect upon their learning and write with purpose. In his like-titled essay, written 30 years before Didion's, Orwell realizes that when he lacks purpose, he writes sentences without meaning, decorative adjectives, and humbug generally. To encourage my students to write with purpose, I suggest they write their college essays about a meaningful moment or realization. One of my students, Margaret Sereno, opened her essay by showing how she was not always appreciative of her mom's Vietnamese recipes, and concluded with a depiction of her preparing a steaming hot bowl of pho for her mom. Margaret's self-reflection allowed her to recognize her growth and see the extraordinary within her family traditions. I teach to introduce my students to new ideas. Last summer I took a course on African literature at Yale and have found that the new texts and intellectually provocative ideas from the course have invigorated my classes with fresh air. I'm incredibly grateful to my parents and brother, who were my first teachers, my husband, Michael Galatioto, who is a social studies teacher at GHS, and my young daughters, who excel in suggesting high-interest lesson plans like give your students candy. I am grateful to my current and former colleagues who are constantly sharing their teaching strategies and lesson plans. I have learned from my friends and nominators, Debbie Smith and Ian Tiedemann, to never be content with an outdated or mundane lesson plan. I am grateful for the advice and support I received from Chris Winters and Bridget Berry. I want to thank Margaret Serino and the other students who took time out of their busy schedules to write and contribute to letters of support for my candidacy. I also want to congratulate my co-recipients on their hard work that makes a tremendous difference in their students' lives. I am grateful to the school board members, the superintendent, and the Distinguished Teacher Award Committee for giving me this award, as it has given me an opportunity to reflect once again on why I teach.
Our next nominator is Julie Farinio. Oh, here we go. Farinio.
Frank Kovac sets high expectations for himself and his students and collaborates and creates a true community with his colleagues, always with a smile and laugh and just the best disposition. Just today, a colleague of Frank's said that his positivity is infectious. I had the pleasure of meeting Frank when he started teaching Avid at Greenwich High School. He was wearing a cap and gown in his classroom. It was in the fall of 2013, at the end of the quarter, and was the first of many academic awards he would have with his Avid class. Avid is about going to college, and the cap and gown represented the end game, or expectation he had for his students. Over the 4 years, Frank fully invested himself in the success of his students by visiting them at jobs after school, coaching with them, and or picking up the phone when they just needed to talk. He cared about their families too, and they knew that. All 24 students from Frank's Avid class were accepted to college. This fall, he jumped right back in to teach the Avid class of 2021. I can't wait to see what this class accomplishes. It is my honor to introduce Frank Kovac, Distinguished Teacher 2018.
So many nice things. Thank you very much, Julie. Thank you, Distinguished Teacher Committee. Thank you to my impressive and supportive colleagues. Thank you to my wife, Distinguished Teacher. Thank you to my family. Inspired. I was inspired 30 years ago as I sat in a classroom here in Greenwich High School. I was inspired to learn, inspired to achieve, inspired to work, inspired to collaborate with other colleagues. I was inspired by teachers, but they were adult allies, and I chose a career path that would allow me to give back the same way those allies did to me. I've worked hard to be an adult ally to my students, to help them navigate a rapidly changing world. I am absolutely honored to be recognized for doing something I love, and for that I believe in. Public education unequivocally is the linchpin of democracy. I believe in what I'm doing, and I believe what we are doing in public education. This is the profession that has the power to inspire a person's career choice, to inspire change in one's path, and in some cases to save lives. I thank the Greenwich Public Schools, but I also congratulate all of us on this upbeat and festive day, because we together as a community recognize the value and the importance of exemplary education and adult allies. And we support it, and we embrace it, and today, we celebrate it. And I am honored to be recognized with these outstanding educators. Thank you.
Our next nominator this afternoon is Janae Nevut.
Extraordinary doesn't even begin to describe Ms. Giuliana DeRosa or her class. She never fails to transform a mundane curriculum into a relevant, exciting, and important lesson that occupies our mind for weeks to come. She respects that we each have different interests and works extremely hard to incorporate each one into her lessons, using anything from Hamilton quotes to Fortnite articles. When you first enter G's class, her high standards and orderly classroom are intimidating. However, in no time it became clear to me that G was an unforgettable teacher. A teacher who could be approached to discuss anything, whether it be the relevance of hard work in your success or my love for The Lion King. And while she definitely supported me in my enthusiasm for The Lion King, G has also made me work hard for every grade and forced us to attempt to understand the world that surrounds us in ways that have forever changed my opinion of this world. My words can do no justice to how amazing of a teacher Mrs. G really is. But what I can say with the utmost confidence is that the world is a better place with Mrs. G in the classroom, and anyone who has her will not soon forget her. Thank you, G, for every mind-blowing article, sacred memory, and unforgettable lesson.
Of my teaching when my student has spoken better than I am going to speak. It's very special to receive this recognition today, and I thank Danae and also Angie Zerilli, as well as Mariana Bellano and Joe O'Brien for their nominations. They, however, are just a small representation of the amazing students and colleagues with whom I work, and this personal recognition is really a shared recognition. It is a true privilege to teach such energetic, perceptive, and eager students whose parents value education. It is they who push me to be more creative and to innovate daily, which I wouldn't be able to do without the support and encouragement from my colleagues and family. Thank you, Distinguished Teachers Committee, and congratulations to the other recipients for their achievements. I hope that all of my students, past and present, and all of my colleagues, both former and present, know how much their ingenuity and vision inspire me. Thank you. Our next nominator is Ami Muth.
It is my honor to have the opportunity to introduce you to Mrs. G. Knight, or Ms. G as my son calls her. I have known Ms. G since my son attended first grade summer school. My son is now in 5th grade. I remember when we received his 3rd grade class list. Boys were bulldogs, my son is not. Girls he barely knew, and not one friend. He was worried about 3rd grade, and so was I. But I remember him saying, "But I have Ms. G." I didn't really know what that meant yet, but as a class parent and a school volunteer, I watched. She let groups of students eat in her classroom instead of an overcrowded cafeteria. They had a big class, and they were constantly in trouble for being loud. And she ate with them, and she talked to them, and she listened to them. And then she went out at recess and played with them. She helped them navigate relationships and situations in the class and on the playground that I hadn't seen done before. The class looked out for each other. She built community through respect and love. She works closely with her 3rd grade team of teachers and models what working together looks like. She makes mistakes and talks about it with her kids, so they learn that making mistakes is really how we learn. I guess I should have mentioned I'm a social worker and therapist. The social emotional learning piece is really my main concern for my kids, and Ms. G is constantly interweaving the academic with the SEL. One parent said she was instrumental in helping my son acclimate and flourish without his twin brother, and find his own voice and communication style, building confidence and independence and striking new friendships. Ms. G is a leader in the personalized math curriculum being piloted at North Miami. But honestly, personalized learning is just how she teaches. She's constantly thinking about how she can reach each student. She introduced a group of kids who already knew the spelling curriculum and taught them Latin. And their knowledge of language deepened. She studied where my son was having problems in reading and writing and grew his learning team to include the literacy specialist, the wonderful Erin Lynch, to broaden his support in reading and writing, to which his reading scores are higher now than I ever would have dreamt him to be in 3rd grade. One of her students says she makes learning fun and applies it to real life, like the life cycle of plants and how plants and people work together. I could go on and on and on about Miss G, but I will just end with what my son wanted me to say this morning. Mom, all the kids just love her. And I know not as much as she loves them. It is my honor to introduce Lisa Julian.
Thank you for coming, everybody. It's really nice to see y'all here. This is such a beautiful honor to be recognized like this. Thank you to everybody on the committee. It must be difficult to choose 6 candidates when there are so many distinguished teachers in our district. I am humbled to be surrounded by such high-achieving educators. I have been in education for 27 years, and I'm wrapping up my 20th year here at North Miami. I absolutely love working with children. There is never a dull moment. Every August begins a new and exciting adventure. Another chance to touch lives and to be touched by lives. New opportunities to share my learning and many opportunities for students to teach me. But teaching goes far beyond just a job I love. I identify myself as a lifelong learner, always craving a better insight, a more effective practice, and a more inspirational way to reach my students. And I love sharing this passion. I want it to be contagious. Everything I deem important is woven into my daily repertoire. Family, love, good character, hard work, innovation, teamwork, and of course, humor. My students are my family. We are together 35 hours a week. I even design my classroom to feel like a home away from home. We learn to trust each other and look out for each other so we can celebrate our failures and how they lead us down hard-working, fruitful paths. I know how important every moment is. I know I am making lasting impressions on these beautiful children, so I must be mindful in how I proceed. Sometimes what is needed goes beyond the curriculum. A hug, a shoulder to cry on, a pep talk, a serious conversation. A logical consequence to help change an undesirable behavior. A joke, a song, a dance, or a celebration for demonstrating integrity. I strive to create a comfortable environment that fosters independent thinkers and problem solvers who learn how to work as a team to further their learning. And I love how my family of students furthers my learning every year. I have the privilege of working with the most motivating group of professionals in 3rd grade at North Miami. We share the same passion, drive, and pioneering spirit. My teammates challenge me to rise higher and to dive deeper into new ideas, even when I'm feeling reluctant to do so. We collaborate completely to best meet the needs of our students to help achieve the vision of the graduate. We decided as a team to utilize playlists last year to better personalize learning and provide more student voice and choice. We are currently involved in the district math pilot program, where we continue to work and grow our practices and methods. I am only distinguished because of my very dynamic colleagues who push me to be so, and I thank them from the bottom of my heart. My love for children gets me out of bed every morning and drives me to work. My students are the kindling that keeps my fire for learning ablaze. I look forward to seeing my students each and every day because there is absolutely nothing more rewarding than witnessing that amazing transformation education provides. Like I said in my essay, one of the best parts of teaching is it really matters, and one of the most challenging parts is I have to make every moment matter. Thank you so much. Our final nominator this afternoon is Maggie Bound.
Good evening.
My name is Maggie Bound, and I have the pleasure of introducing Karen Ball, our final Distinguished Teacher of the evening. I first heard about Karen 6 years ago, when my husband and I moved from London to Greenwich, with 3 children entering Eastern Middle School in the fall. Naturally, we were worried about how the children would adapt to the new curriculum and fit in. Soon after starting at Eastern, our kids would say to me, "Hey Mom, can I come home later? I have to go to the Media Center," a mysterious place where kids would do their homework, meet new people, and a lady called Karen Ball would keep them in line if they got out of control. It was a parent's dream. 3 years later, I met Karen formally when I was head of the PTA at Eastern Middle School, and Karen was in virtually every committee meeting, curriculum, technology, strategy, and clearly played a crucial role in the decision-making. So I would like to tell you, on behalf of Renee Jennings, Stacy Lovelace, Ralph Mayo, Kristen and Rob Walsh, and myself, a mother of 6 current and former Eastern Middle School pupils, why Karen richly deserves this award. Firstly, Karen sets the tone. If you come to Karen with a problem, she makes it her problem, and she will sit with you. She'll give you her energy, her ideas, no matter what she has going on, and will see it through to the end. During the Chromebook rollout, Karen was known to carry her laptop around at the weekend, folding laundry with her laptop on her dryer to be available to answer questions from panicked parents, students, teachers. Also, Karen is versatile. In fact, there's 2 sides to Karen: the literary magician and the tech goddess. Teachers rely on her for her book talks in classrooms, of which she's done over 50 this year already. Plus, teachers also come to her for ideas, for apps, or how can I jazz up my classroom presentations with tech? But one thing above all, Karen is renowned for her knowledge and love of books and her ability to inspire and encourage even the most challenged readers to pick up a book, take it home, and give it a go. Finally, Karen is an interpreter. In this information age, we don't need more information. We need someone to interpret the information and to put us in the context that we need, whether you're a student, parent, teacher, or PTA. Need to roll out 250 Chromebooks to 6th grade students and a pilot scheme? Karen will come up with a plan. Need a framework to educate teachers and students on how to implement technology in their classroom? Karen will write and deliver a 2-day digital boot camp. Need a primer for parents to explain the new technology curriculum? Voila! Karen Ball will present to hundreds of your parents an open house night. So for all of this, setting the tone, her versatility, and her skill as an interpreter, and much, much more, Karen richly deserves this award. Thank you very much.
I started teaching long ago in 1995, but my life changed when I went to Central Middle School in 2002 and joined up with a very special woman who is also a distinguished teacher, Judy Peterson. She is absolutely critical to my development as a media specialist. So Judy, thank you. I spent 4 years with Judy before Sherry Andre left Eastern to retire and go off with the grandchildren, and I knew I needed to go back to Eastern and take over. So here I am. I would like to tell you about my favorite part of my job. My job the responsibilities have exploded exponentially over the last 10 years with technology, but I always come back to the books. How many adults in this room would willingly and enthusiastically go back and become age 11, 12, or 13 now? Yeah? Would you like to do that? Yeah. I spend all day, every day in the middle school, and I love it. I learn something new there every day. Sometimes it's things I don't necessarily want to know, but I learn new things every day. I'm a media specialist. We used to be librarians, so that term doesn't always ring true for some people. But that's also why my nickname is Batgirl, because Batgirl, or Gordon, was a librarian. And my superpower is reading at light speed. I love books. I love getting kids excited about stories, and I think book talks are the best. Book talks are when I talk about selected books with students in groups, in classes, or even individually. I run book talks for classes at all 3 grade levels, with teacher-requested themes like survival, dystopia, memoir, facing challenges, heroes, great nonfiction, historical fiction, or just we need good reads. Individual book talks tailored to student requests, pretty much at the drop of a hat. Book talks are easy for kids who love to read. Tell me what you're interested in. Tell me what books you've really enjoyed, and I can find you something in a few minutes. But what if you don't have any good answers to those questions? Okay, tell me what you don't like about books. What books you've tried to read on your own and you've tossed. Tell me you haven't read anything willingly in recent memory. There's my challenge. One of my most reluctant readers had refused to read anything since elementary school. He was the 8th grade cool boy who sat back, took whatever he was handed, and looked for any possible way to skate through not reading. Until he heard me talk about a book by Laurie Halse Anderson, with an angry rebel who had to pay the price for serious vandalism. He had parents that didn't understand. There was a girl who had no idea that he was in love with her. There were bullies, there were cops, you name it. And my reader's mother, weeks later, pulled me out of the student-faculty basketball game and demanded to know how I actually got him to read a book. And she was thrilled. He never fessed up to exactly what it was that connected with him, but it lit a fire for reading him that he hadn't had before. And he came to me and said, I want another one like that. This is where I truly succeed, because middle school is the land where you need stories the most. This is when kids grow more than any other time in their lives. They start as hamsters, and they grew into rhinoceroses. And I'm not just talking physically, I'm talking mentally, emotionally, socially. That process is pretty daunting. And it's sometimes exciting, terrifying, and debilitating from minute to minute. Your body literally does things you didn't know it could do at any given moment. You've got klutziness, hormones that make you want to laugh and cry at the same time. Then there's the gaping maw of the cafeteria when you're in a fight with your friends and you don't have anybody to sit with. The stomach-dropping realization that your deodorant's not up to that avalanche of BO that you're suddenly producing. Then there's the days where you feel really smart, you're having a great day. And then there's that uncontrollable rise of emotion that makes you say and do really stupid things. And the adults say, why did you do that? And your answer is, I don't know. And they really don't. This is where books come in and save us. Author Jeff Seymour wrote that books invite kids to identify with characters taking on more responsibility and wielding more power than kids can in the real world. They solve mysteries, they right ancient wrongs, they fight and win battles against evils of unfathomable strength. In general, this is a good thing. Imagining yourself as powerful and capable is a precursor to becoming that way. Kids who constantly feel like they're powerless or unmoored need that counter message. Middle school is when we discover just how difficult and harsh the world can be sometimes, and also how wonderful and crazy it is too. This is where books let us experience scary things while we're safe at home on the couch or in the classroom. We can read the saddest stories and actually find relief for everything that's going on wrong in my life. That story was worse. We can escape to imaginary worlds and faraway times with heroic characters who save the day against impossible odds. We laugh at realistic characters who get into all sort of ridiculous scrapes and realize that life really does go on after your pants fall down in the championship game or you accidentally blow up your girlfriend's science project. We can find solace in stories about characters who've gone through what we ourselves are facing. A divorce, a deployed sibling, a grandparent in the grips of dementia, a death in the family, a cancer diagnosis. We find what we need there. Comfort, humor, belonging, and a safe way to walk in someone else's shoes. We find strength in books because they tell us that we're not alone. They help us navigate that unfamiliar road of growing up, and they help us pick ourselves up after we fall down. Because we all fall, many times. What's courage? Fall down 7 times, get up 8. Stories build in us that strength to rise that one more time, and they make us think about what we value. They show us mistakes aren't permanent, problems can be solved, failures can lead to a different success, and most importantly, that love and kindness really do make the world a better place, one act at a time. Thank you, Maggie, and thank you to the group who worked on my nomination, Renee Jennings, Stacy Lovelace, Ralph Mayo, and the Walshes. I am extremely honored that you think so highly of me. I thank my group of teachers that are winners with me. We are amazing. And look at all those people. We just joined the Cool Kids Club. Thank you to the committee. Thank you to the board. And most especially, thank you to the staff at Eastern Middle School and the staff at Central. All of my work family, you're the reason I'm here. Nobody does this alone. You are far more than just a group of people who work in a couple of buildings. Your family. I am deeply grateful for that continuing gift. And a special thank you to my Justice League friends, especially Wonder Woman, Justine Damaraki, and Supergirl, Nikki Turpin, and our favorite Hobbit, Judy Peterson. Without these 3, I would not be where I am today, especially. Finally, and most importantly, I would like to thank my extended family. Special shout out to my partners in crime, my cousin Vicki, and my sister-in-law Lydia. To my children, Jake and Sadie, and most especially to my husband and the love of my life, my Steve. Thank you.
Our final speaker this afternoon will be Peter Bernstein.
So it seems every time I'm here, they always put me between the great speakers and food. So I'll try to be interesting and get you up quick. There's a little reception out in the atrium afterwards. I want to thank the committee one more time. Cynthia and the committee members do so much work. I know there's a lot of work that goes into making a nomination. I've nominated somebody before. If you haven't nominated somebody, please consider it for next year. But for those committee members, this is it's quite the endeavor. The work that they put in, the hours they put in, the thought they put in. But the payoff is the exposure. They get to learn about all of the great practices going on in our schools, and they are great. We met with the teachers about 2 weeks ago after they were announced. And I said something in that small forum that I'll repeat here tonight. It's not the board members or the superintendent or the principals. It's the teachers that have the most impact on the students, that can change the students' lives. I heard the words inspiration and love. So I've been reflecting since we met about 2 weeks ago on all of those teachers that inspired me. And I actually wanted to talk about one of them. My second grade teacher, her name was Lucy Scaramucci. She passed away last year at 92. I kept in touch with her throughout my entire life. Through my parents, she didn't email, she was 92. And she was just an amazing inspiration to me. My siblings both had her as well. And I think all of us really got a love for reading and books, from being in her classroom. And I just want to read a little bit. My parents sent me her obituary, and I go back to it every once in a while to remind myself why I do what I do now. So from her obituary, she's fondly remembered as a dedicated teacher with great enthusiasm and a genuine interest in each and every pupil in her class. Her creative and innovative projects made learning challenging and interesting for her students. She established Book Buds, a publishing company of sorts for children who were budding authors and who delighted in seeing their stories published in hardbound covers. So I actually want to say I have that book now. My children have both read it, and if I hold it up close enough to my nose, I can still smell the mimeograph. But it's that kind of work, that kind of inspiration that I'm not going to say how many decades later I can still think about being in her classroom
And that's what all of you have done to all of the students, the countless students that you've had. So I just want to say to you, don't rest on your laurels, right? This is not the end of your career. Please go back and share your best practices with other teachers. Inspire those teachers. I heard about the group work that you do with the other people at the grade level. Keep communicating with parents. I don't think people appreciate enough that the teachers spend as much time or more time with our kids than we do, and just what you do for them is so amazing. So I want to thank you very much from myself, from the Board of Education, from all of the parents out there. Keep inspiring those kids, because those are the future leaders of the world. So we need them. And with that, please do join us outside for some refreshments. Thank you.
Celebrate, and as Peter said, let's go